I didn't know how lost I was until I found myself too tired to keep walking. No one saw the tears I cried on the kitchen floor. No one heard the silent prayers I whispered in the dark. But God did. He found me there. Not when I was strong, but when I was crumbling, and He didn't ask me to rise, He lifted me. I was running on empty, trying to hold it together, smiling outside, but broken inside forever. I heard Your voice in the stillness of night, saying, "Daughter, I see you coming to the light." You carried me home when I couldn't walk alone. You wrapped me in mercy and called me Your own. Through the storm and the fire, through the aching unknown, I found grace in Your arms. You carried me home. I thought I had to earn what was already mine. Your love didn't wait for the perfect time. When the world turned cold and I felt so small, You lifted my soul and gave me it all. You carried me home when I couldn't walk alone. You wrapped me in mercy and called me Your own. Through the storm and the fire, through the aching unknown, I found grace in Your arms. You carried me home. Even in silence, You were speaking peace. Even in shadows, Your light reached me. I see now I was never alone. It was You all along that carried me home. You carried me home when I couldn't walk alone. You wrapped me in mercy and called me Your own. Through the storm and the fire, through the aching unknown, I found grace in Your arms. You carried me home. You carried me. You carried me home. They said I wouldn't make it out. They looked at me with pity, like the valley would be the end of my story. But I've learned something down here. God does some of His best work in the low places. When no one claps for you, when it's just you in the dirt, that's where roots grow deep. And today, I'm still standing. Not because I'm strong, but because He is. I've walked through nights where stars refuse to shine, felt the weight of doubt pressing on my spine. But in that shadow I heard a song, a quiet strength that pulled me along. The valley didn't break me, it built me, made me whole. Through every tear and silence, God was speaking to my soul. I thought I lost the battle, but grace won the fight. The valley didn't break me, it led me to the light. I wore my shame like a second skin. Believe the lies whispered within. but mercy came like morning dew and told me, child, I've chosen you. The valley didn't break me, oh, it built me, made me whole. Through every tear and silence, God was speaking to my soul. I thought I lost the battle, but grace won the fight. Oh, the valley didn't break me, it led me to the light. Oh, mountains don't grow you, the valley's where you're fed, where God rewrites your future, where dead things rise instead. The valley didn't break me, oh, it crowned me with His name. Now I walk with purpose, oh, I'm no longer the same. Oh, the world said I was finished, oh, but God had more to write. The valley didn't break me, it brought me back to life. The valley didn't break me, it was holy ground all along. There were mornings I didn't want to wake up, nights when tears soaked the pillow, and silence screamed louder than words ever could. I wondered if God still saw me, if He still remembered my name. But in the stillness, I felt Him sit beside me, not to preach, but to stay. He didn't fix everything in a moment, but He never left for a second. I had no song left to sing, no strength to lift my hands, but You saw a spark still burning, buried in the sand. You breathed again on embers, lit a fire in my chest. When I had nothing to offer, You still gave me rest. When I couldn't lift my hands, You lifted me. When I had no words to pray, You still believed. You didn't wait for me to stand, You came and held me where I am. Oh Jesus, You carried me when I couldn't lift my hands. I've wandered through the shadows, I've doubted every light, but You painted hope on darkness with mercy shining bright. You whispered through my breakdowns, turned silence into song. And even in my weakness, You told me I belong. When I couldn't lift my hands, You lifted me. When I had no words to pray, You still believed. You didn't wait for me to stand, You came and held me where I am. Oh Jesus, You carried me when I couldn't lift my hands. I'm learning love is not performance, it's presence that stays. And grace is not just given, it meets me in my day. couldn't lift my head, you lifted me out of pain. You still believe, you didn't wait for me to stand. You came and held me where I am. Oh Jesus, you carried me when I couldn't lift my hands. You carried me. Oh, you carried me when I couldn't lift my Sometimes the loudest storms aren't outside, they're inside. I sat in silence, waiting for something, anything. But no voice thundered, no sky split open, just stillness, just waiting. And I wondered if God had gone quiet, or if I had forgotten how to listen. But even there, in the hush, in the ache, He was present, not performing, just being. And I realized He was never absent. He was God, even in the silence. I searched the sky for signs, looked for answers in the rain. But the thunder didn't speak, and the wind just said my name. Still I waited by the door, where my prayers once found reply. And though heaven fell like stone, there was mercy in the sky. He was God in the silence, God in the pause, holding me steady, even when I felt lost. He didn't shout, didn't scream, but His love stayed strong. He was God in the silence, all alone. I thought faith was fire, loud, burning bright. But sometimes it's a whisper in the quietest night. I learned that peace doesn't always sing. Sometimes it breathes in the space between. He was God in the silence, God in the pause, holding me steady, even when I felt lost. He didn't shout, didn't scream, but His love stayed strong. He was God in the silence, all alone. In the hush, in the weight, in the heavy, hollow ache, He was nearer than my fear. He was wiping every tear. He was God in the silence, God in the pause. He was writing redemption without applause. He didn't shout, didn't scream, but His grace held on. He was God in the silence, and He was never gone.
was a night I almost gave up. Not loudly, not in a storm, but in silence. I smiled during the day and cried into my pillow at night. I thought God had forgotten me, but somehow He reminded me. Through a song, a whisper, a verse, you were still mine, and that changed everything. I walked through the fire, but I didn't burn. Carried the weight, but I still returned. Scars on my skin, but grace in my breath. 1,000 no's, but not one death. He said I'm chosen, even when I fall. He held me close through it all. I'm not perfect, but I'm held in His mercy. I've been dwelled. I'm not what I was, I'm what He says. They saw my weakness, He saw my worth. When I broke down, He gave me birth to a new day, a brand new song, where broken hearts finally belong. He said I'm chosen, even when I fall. He held me close through it all. I'm not perfect, but I'm held in His mercy. I've been dwelled. I'm not what I was, I'm what He says. I'm not defined by what I've done, I'm defined by the risen sun. Not by wounds or by regret, but by the cross that paid my debt. He said I'm chosen, even when I fall. He held me close through it all. I'm not perfect, but I'm held in His mercy. I've been dwelled. I'm not what I was, I'm what He says. Yes, I'm what He says. There was a moment I didn't think I'd breathe again. I was buried under shame, drowning in questions with no answers. But even there, in that dark pit, God stepped in. He didn't shout, He whispered, and His whisper was louder than all my fear. I held on to what was breaking me. I called it love, but it was pain in disguise. I begged for closed doors to reopen, not knowing they were graves dressed as blessings. But God, He pulled me out, not gently, not slowly. He ripped the chains, He shook the ground. He said, daughter, that's enough, come home. He pulled me out of the fire, out of the lies I told myself. He pulled me out of the silence when I forgot how to pray. He pulled me out when I thought I was lost for good. He said I never left. He pulled me out. I tried to fix what only heaven could mend. Tried to hold people God was removing. Tried to stay where grace had already moved on. But he didn't let me sink. Even when I pushed him away, he stayed. And when I had nothing left to offer, he still called me mine. You thought you were forgotten, but he remembered your name. You thought it was over, but he was just beginning. Your wounds won't define you, his hand will. You're not what you lost, you are what he's restoring. He pulled me out of the fire, out of the fear that paralyzed. He pulled me out of the silence and gave me back my voice. He pulled me out when all hope was gone and whispered, live again. He pulled me out, and now I walk free, not because of me, but because he pulled me out. Oh, call, make music.
I used to think God only smiled from far away. But the night I broke, I heard him crying too. He wasn't angry, he was aching, because I was his.
I thought I was alone in the dark, that heaven forgot my bleeding heart. But I felt warmth inside my storm, a love that held me when I was torn. God wept for me too. Not just looked, not just knew. He sat beside my silence, felt the ache I never spoke through. God wept for me too. Tears ran with mine down my room. The father cried for the daughter he knew. God wept for me too. I blamed him for the pain I wore, but he was crying at my door, not knocking hard, just stay near, till I let go of my fear. God wept for me too. Not just watched, but moved through the echo of my heartbeat that no one else could tune. God wept for me too.
It wasn't the end. It was the turning. Not a fall, but a reroute. He didn't let it break me. He used it to bring me back.
They said I was finished, counted me out, buried in failure, wrapped in doubt. But you stepped into the grave I made and turned my darkness into grace. You rewrote my ending with mercy, not shame. Where I saw failure, you carved out my name. Not a period, but a page turned new. You rewrote my ending with truth. I thought my story was marked by loss, a list of mistakes beneath the cross. But you took the ashes, breathed again, and called it beautiful. Where I felt condemned, you wrote my ending with mercy, not shame. Where I saw failure, you carved out my name. Not a period, but a page turned new. You rewrote my ending with truth. You still had plans. You still saw light. You did walk away that night. You kept the pen in your hands and you wrote redemption again. Grace became my song. Where I saw ruins, you said I still belonged. Every scar became a holy sign that my story was still divine. You rewrote it all and called me whole.
I didn't grow up knowing what love looked like, but I know what it didn't look like. And when I met you, Lord, I finally saw the difference.
They said love had rules, love had limits, only given if I could earn it. But you shattered all those lines, met me in the ruins of my mind. Taught me love without conditions. You tell me now. Tell me close without permission. Didn't wait till I was clean. Till I was clean.
stepped right into everything. Now I know what mercy means.
Your love rewrote my history.
I was scared to trust,
Scared to stay.
but you never once walked away. You held my hand through every fear and whispered, "Daughter, I am here."
You called me
You taught me love without. You didn't wait till I was clean. You stepped right into everything. Now I know what mercy means.
Your love rewrote my history. When I read,
Truth when I lied.
healing when I broke down and cried.
Now I see
What love should be.
it looks like you.
You taught me love without resistance. Love me,
You didn't wait till I was clean. You stepped right into everything. Now I know what mercy means.
Your love rewrote my history. Taught me, told me, smiled, knew me, loosened me, loved me, loosened eyes, loved me, loosened, used me, used everything.
Now I know what mercy means.
Your love rewrote my history.
I remember the place where I fell. Not just a stumble, but the kind of fall that knocks the wind out of you, steals your breath, and leaves you staring at the ceiling, wondering if God still hears your name. I was tired of pretending, tired of holding broken pieces and calling them God's will. I cried in secret, smiled in public, and called it strength, but it wasn't strength. It was fear dressed up like faith. Then one night I stopped asking for answers. I just whispered, God, if you're still here, please don't let go of me. And he didn't. He met me on the floor, not to scold me,
But to carry me.
that's the kind of God he is. He finds you in the place where you fell and builds an altar right there. In the place where I lost it all, you laid your hand and called me whole. When all my strength had slipped away, you stood beside me anyway. You turned my sorrow into song. You held me when the night fell long. I thought I'd broken past repair, but you were already waiting there. In the place where I fell, you met me with grace. You saw the mess I tried to hide, the silent wars I fought inside, but never once did you retreat. You stayed right there beneath my feet.
pieces. I remember the night I almost gave up. Not because I didn't believe in God, but because I didn't think He believed in me. I was doing everything right, still felt empty.
I prayed, and the sky was silent. I cried, and nothing changed. But He never left. He just worked quietly in the places I couldn't see. And now I stand here today, not because I had perfect faith, but because even with my broken faith, He held me.
I was falling fast, couldn't find the ground. Thought I'd lost your voice, couldn't hear a sound.
But in the silence,
You stayed near.
You caught